Welcome to Talk Design Podcast, the space where creativity meets conversation. I'm Adrian Ramsey, your host, and as someone deeply entrenched in the world of design, I'm thrilled to introduce you to the minds that inspire me, in the hope that they will spark something special within you too. From a design past crafting women's swimwear to pushing the boundaries of performance sportswear, from mountaineering to international yachting, to implementing systematic innovation solutions that transcend boundaries in aerospace industry. My heart remains rooted in architecture, and exploring the emotional tapestry woven by built spaces is my fascination. My journey in design has been what can only be described as a life of design. I want to thank you for lending me your ears. I'm eager to embark on this next episode together. My guest on Talk Design today is Corey Walker. Now, Corey and I recorded, I reckon, maybe about 3 years ago, but we've caught up in LA and so on and been in touch all through this time. But I want to take the opportunity to bring Corey back into the show, especially with what's just happened in LA. And Walk Studio, which is Corey's architectural firm, has always been very, very focused around health and wellness and creating spaces that give you the opportunity to be closer to nature, use nature in your daily thing, help with your lifestyle, as well as bring joy to you. Corey, welcome back to Talk Design, man.
Thank you, Adrian. Appreciate it. Happy to be here.
Yeah, really cool to have you back. I think last time we caught up in person was in Los Angeles down near Venice Beach, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're still here in Venice Beach.
Yeah. I think that day I caught up with you, and then I think I had a meeting with Shay Holland, who is a TV producer and stuff like that, with the sort of fix-it-up renovation style shows on the same day. So I caught up with you and Hannah in the morning, which was fabulous. And since then, you've got married, and since then, Hannah's pregnant. So you're starting a family.
Yeah, we've got a baby girl due in May, which is very exciting,
man. Congratulations. That's so exciting. And is Hannah going well with
hair?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You got a minute to clean the air in LA?
Yeah, well, so she's doing great. We just had a baby moon vacation in Spain and actually just got back a couple days ago. So we actually were gone during all the LA fires. And we leave for a minute, man. That's wild time.
Well,
but she's doing great.
Yeah, look, I'd say that you were very lucky not to be there, especially with her being pregnant, with the amount of smoke in the air, with everything else, with the destruction and devastation, to not have to have experienced it all firsthand as it played out. You're experiencing it now. You're home though.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird time. Like, half the people walking around are wearing masks, are not. It's like some days the air quality is bad. Some days we get ocean breeze and it kind of blows it away. Only touch and go right now.
Yeah. And some of the other things, like we were talking just before we started recording, was the cleanup and what the cleanup will do to the air quality. The toxic compounds that are in the air from asbestos, etc.
Some are calling it the natural disaster after the natural disaster. Is when they start bulldozing all the homes that unfortunately have burned down. And if it's windy, it's going to kick up all the asbestos and all the chemicals that have burned and kind of spread it around the city. And that ash is toxic. So we hopefully are going to be safe through that as well.
Yeah, that's going to be a really interesting thing. And I'm sure that there'll be some mandates on how cleanup has to be done or how things happen.
I think they're writing the book as we speak.
I think they'll be writing it for the next 10 years,
Yeah.
As they discover more magnitude of stuff, obviously those first chapters will happen relatively quickly. And then from there, there'll be a change. I imagine you're going to see a lot of regulation change around the building code and things.
I mean, there was, 12,000 homes that have burned down. And a lot of those homes are older when the fire code wasn't much of a thing. So people were building with attics that are open to let sparks and stuff in, and wood siding, and all that has changed. Like now you have to build with fire sprinklers, and it's a different world. So I think it's also going to continue to change.
Yeah.
Our building codes in California are actually changing in January 2026. So I can imagine that a lot is going to get introduced in the next few months, specifically for the fire code.
Yeah. There'll be a lot that's dragged forward, and then it won't wait till 2026. It'll be an overlay on what's current. And then there's the incredible piece of the, planning and getting that information through will be the other thing. Like, when was the plan started? What happened here? All those pieces to it will become really, your drawings are dated this or whatever, but there's going to be cutoff points and restart points and a massive upgrade to the thing. And then this massive overwhelm on the infrastructure to build, plus the civic infrastructure that will need to be re-brought up to speed or maybe brought up to speed. And then there will also be the material, I want to say shortages just because of the volume, the labor shortages because of the volume. It's going to be a really, really interesting time. And I don't know what it'd be like to, be the first person to build a house in the street to rebuild a house in the street that was devastated. Imagine it.
I've never thought about that. That's an emotional time.
Yeah. And not only that, like when you have a new subdivision, the first people who move in, usually it's done in waves, like it starts at one point, but in this case, it may not be as easily to control like that. And so you might be building your home in the furthest back end of the area, and then you get all that construction dust for the next 20 years that's going to come across your home because of the prevailing winds. And, you might get less traffic, but the guys at the very front are going to get all the traffic. They're going to get all the trucks, all that. Everything that's delivered will be coming, via that front line. And yes, there'll be less of it at the back line, but then as the wind goes up the canyons and over the mountains and stuff, I imagine that they're going to end up with more response to the pollution the pollution that building creates.
Yeah. And all the pollutants that are still there, they're going to get kicked up over all the homes that are going to get rebuilt. You're right. It's not going to be like a tract home building construction site where it all goes up at once.
Yeah.
It's going to be popcorning here, there, So, I mean, it kind of makes like the passive home strategies of like air tightness in your home and almost like the way to do it out there, because you don't want like all those pollutants leaking into the home,
Yeah. But then that also flies in the face of being closer to nature from your home. We have, take the climate where I live, which is a bit like Florida in the, sort of it's humid and it's hot and, beautiful. 330 sunshine days a year. So pretty fabulous like that, like California, like Southern Cal. And except you get desert heat, we get wet heat. We're more Florida with the heat. But you do that, and with a passive house strategy, I think passive houses are absolutely incredible for the right climate. We have a tropical house strategy or subtropical house strategy where you build your spaces maybe smaller, but the ability to have them open all the time so that there's airflow through the home and all the rest. If you're building for, say you're designing for clients that they're right in the midpoint of the region of that's burned, how you approach that with the construction, with the cleanup, with the construction, reconstruction, and with controlling air quality beyond the time of the, so it's all done now, but is the house still applicable to the current, is it more of an emotional response to what the next 10 years or 15 years is like? Or does it meet how people want to live?
Yeah. I mean, in California, we've got really good weather. In Los Angeles, we've got really good weather. So like creating that indoor outdoor experience is a big thing.
Yeah.
And in a lot of these affluent neighborhoods and Palisades and Malibu, like they have those walls, those glass walls that open up and, giving you that indoor outdoor experience. Like that's going to be a lot bit constrained during this rebuild period.
Yeah.
That's a really good point you're making. It's like, do you design to survive, like defensively to survive this period of rebuild, or do you design it for after when
The next 100 years? Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. And it's, yeah, if you do have a glass wall that completely pushes out of the way and opens up, like, and there is a fire in the future, are you going to be there to close it in time?
Yeah.
Or are we going to need some automated systems that close them?
I imagine that'll be a big growth industry. Yeah. That part will be a massive growth industry of having, say like our home, like you're saying, think of any of the case study homes from mid-century modern case study homes, big glass panel walls and things like that. If that is the style, then can you automate the closure of it? And look, LA smog is nowhere near what it used to be. But would it close if it was smoggy? Would it lock you in or lock you out?
Right.
What triggers it, and at what point is it the right response or a safe response? And then, how do you determine all these different factors? Because it could basically be that it will lock you down at the minute there is a fire thing, and your sprinkler systems and all the rest, but they may not be enough to control a wildfire like the fires you just had. And it could hold you in your house as opposed to letting you out of your house. I don't know. There's so many different angles. And then, with the cost of building and the cost of the overwhelm that will happen on construction and the density that will probably go up in a lot of areas, you'll be building multifamily or dual family kind of residences more often.
Because of the housing shortage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, a response to I want to say the environment that it's in now. With the health side of buildings, I mean, obviously you've done a lot of work on it. Actually, I think you were the one who really sparked my interest a whole lot deeper in the whole materiality of a building and how much better it can work by just having better materials. And when I say better work, it'd be quieter, it would be air quality would be better. Yeah. These
more connection to nature.
Yeah.
It's like, why do we have indoor plants? Like, why do we have artwork on the walls? It's because we're inside. Like, we're not meant to be inside. We're meant to be outdoors and in nature.
Yeah.
So, bringing those inside and having natural materials, natural woods, stuff like that, it has a psychological effect on the mind.
Yes. I remember back in that early podcast talking about this with you. And then after that, and it was stuff I'd known, but I had not met anybody at that point that was saying, this is my brand. This is what I bring over and above the regular stuff of being an architect and being able to design well and to think of space and be spatially aware. And then also, where's your light and the air coming from, where are all these things happening from, we know biophilic design, but then how are you doing that? And where's it happening? And then I went down the rabbit hole from there. And, there's people on the podcast like Paula Baker-Laporte and Sarah Dakota who are building biologists, and they are all about materiality. And in the case of Paula Baker-Laporte, very much about designing in blocks, when I say in blocks, designing. I remember in my podcast with her, she was like, she's been on several times, but she was in the first one, it was like, well, we'd never put a garage attached to a house. It would never be integrated with the house completely. It'd always be some sort of free flow of air between those two things. One is because you have a car that comes into a garage and it's hot, and so it's gassing off, not necessarily the car fumes, although that's one point because it would drive in. Electric cars will shift that. Then you've got to ask about electromagnetic energy that's being generated, and where's it being generated, and how close is it to you as a human. But then you put this vehicle inside a space, and then you've got a door that goes into your hallway or your entryway or your wherever it goes to, kitchen, whatever, and all those fumes and toxins come into the house directly when that doorway opens, once the garage door closes. And I'm like, oh, like that. And yeah, giving separation of those spaces was one of the things I hadn't really ever considered it. When she said it, you go, well, that makes sense. But I hadn't considered it, and certainly hadn't deliberately designed it at that point to be separated. But then land size and the way people respond to security and comfort and ease is part of that journey. And they want to be able to step into their home from that space. Yeah.
I mean, density in a major city is kind of like forces you to connect it. Like, especially in LA, it's like these lots are small, and just a grid of these 5,000 square foot lots. I mean, a lot of them are bigger in Beverly Hills and stuff like that, but the textbook lot is
5,000 square foot.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of them are connected just based on necessity, but I mean, maybe there are some design moves you can do. Like maybe you have a double door, like a little vestibule, like between the garage and the house. So like there's a little bit of separation, but I fully agree with you. Like the garage and all those chemicals like should be kept away from the house.
And probably also, all these things, there's such a big opportunity to go, okay, how do we do this better? And how, if you think when people in 100 years look back on this piece of LA, or these pieces of LA that get rebuilt, it's going to be like a model. Christchurch has done the same in New Zealand after the big earthquake. It's like, okay, there's so few old things standing, but then it's a model of what has to be done for earthquake proofness. And I imagine that's going to bleed also into your homes in Los Angeles, because you're in the San Andreas faults there. So we're going to get a bleed of that technology, because the last big construction of a major city, and I mean, Christchurch in New Zealand is pretty small in terms of a major city, but that there has some of the world's most advanced earthquake regulation and innovation. And so we'll see that bleeding into the Californian space as well. As those houses are rebuilt, they'll be rebuilt with more code around that as well, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with all this technology and all these codes, like the cost of building is actually going to go up.
Yeah.
Sadly, like a lot of these homes that have burnt down, like to build the same home, like it's going to be more expensive today, just because materials and labor and all that stuff is more expensive, right? But then it's like, if you build the same thing, it's going to be equally as vulnerable in the next fire.
So the code won't even allow you to build the same thing. Yeah, it's going to be the other thing. Yeah, code's already shifted,
Yeah.
Don't you have mandatory sprinkler systems?
There is mandatory sprinkler systems, but it's been proven in the fire that they're not enough to save the house from burning down. They're only really designed to keep the house from burning in 1 hour or 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like still embers are getting into the house. Yeah. For escaping. Some of the houses that survive in the area, some of the people like plugged hoses into their pools, and they put more lawn type sprinklers on the roof, and which sprayed the roof and the vegetation around the house. And a lot of those homes survived. And it wasn't from the traditional fire sprinkler. It was from this contraption that people designed to spray the surrounding area. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that got integrated into the building code, like a deployable water cannon in the building that popped up and sprayed planting, vegetation, and all that stuff.
Oh, so we were talking earlier just with that as well, and I saw a post on Instagram, I think it was, where they had I think it was Japan. If not Japan, it was an Asian place.
Japan, we talked about it.
And then they had buildings that looked like they were part of the overall built scape, so the overall streetscape and stuff. But they had roofs that opened and had water cannons coming out of them as well.
Like dog houses.
Yeah.
Like little doghouse size houses that open and deployed, and a water cannon popped out, and there was like one for each house.
Yes.
And all of them automate like together and fight fires. And in the future, I mean, I bet AI can kind of like guide these water cannons right at the fire. I wouldn't be surprised if the Palisades is equipped with those water cannons in the future. At least I think they should.
They're just got to have the water source.
The water sources, that's
going to be the other critical point. Yeah. And so like on-site water source as well, like a pool. Yeah, a pool's a great thing.
Yeah.
For that. But a pool's another cost, and it's another land piece, and uses more. I went to a couple of years ago. I was on the Texas Society of Architects design tour, and we went to a place called Lewis Air Legends, which is a hangar out in the Texas kind of hill country area. And in that hangar, there's all these rare aircraft, and it's got a runway and all those things, obviously, so you can take off and land there. It's a privately owned structure. And that whole place had big fire cannons, a lot with foam, not water.
Really?
And it was all completely designed that if it sensed a certain level of hotspot anywhere in the room, so these cannons were all around the walls. If it sensed it, there was a couple of things that would happen. It would douse the airplanes that were closest to where the hotspot was, and it had a camera type AI mechanism that would spot the fire, actually, identify it and attack that with a cannon.
Heat map, like find where it's the hottest and go towards that, huh?
Yeah. And so these things exist on all kinds of levels already.
That's interesting because it doesn't require water. You're saying it spits foam out.
Yeah, but foam's toxic.
Yeah. And then it's like, how do you clean that up?
Yeah.
For a biodegradable option for that.
Yeah, exactly. But
if there is, it's interesting.
Yeah, there'd be some fascinating things that come from it. Another one, Brandon Jorgensen from up in, we haven't released his podcast yet, but he's up in the San Francisco area, and in the, kind of Napa and stuff like that, a lot of his projects. And, the flooded roof is one of those sort of things, like having a water source that's completely above you. So imagine if you've got a flat roof that's flooded, and I don't know, maybe it's a Japanese garden up there. Maybe you can wander through it and have small pavilionized pieces and stuff in that space. And it's an elevator, but it's a water garden. And then that water garden can be it's there for
reservoir.
Yeah, it's there for the reservoir.
Yeah. So
there'll be some amazing innovation and opportunity that comes out of this whole thing.
Yeah. Like we talked about, like you actually having the water in these cannons to fight, but we haven't really talked about like the loss of power during these natural
to drive disasters. These cannons.
Yeah. I mean, homes are going to need generators and to pump water and spray this water around, or the foam if there is that
body where it is.
Yeah. I think generator market is going to be a big one as well, because you need emergency power during these conditions.
Yeah. Well, I've got friends, another friend of mine, an architect out in Thousand Oaks, and they lost their power for like 3-4 days. They weren't they were near a fire zone. They weren't in a fire zone. They had refugees coming from the fire zones and staying with them and all those things, but they were on generator for a few days. And then you go, those generators are petrol driven. And then you go, okay, so what's the health response to those fumes? Heavy metals, all those things. So it's a conundrum, you keep going round and round, and then it's like, well, whose responsibility is it as well? Is it the homeowners? Is it the state? Is it the county? Is it whose responsibility is it to take these things? And it will be ultimately, if you live in the house, it's your responsibility. If you're not taking care of yourself, then it can't be anybody else's responsibility. That's like your own health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, communities can probably get together and, share some of the generators. But
and water sources and things like that.
Yeah, the more we come together, like maybe there is a shared water source, like in a community. And the tighter we get, like the more the cost can be kind of like spread around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because doing it all yourself, like there's so many kind of strategies that need to get integrated to save a house in 100-mile-an-hour firestorm. You know?
Yeah.
And if we have systems that can bring 10 houses together where they like share a water reservoir, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Something that just occurred to me when you were saying that is this, so a house that survived physically as the structure, I wonder what's been damaged within that home from smoke, from heat. Has all the electrical system burnt out because of the heat? Have the wires melted, have those things overloaded. As if your piping is made of, your water pipes in the house are made of, say, something like rehow, has that melted? Does it mean that the plumbing needs to be redone as opposed to it being in copper? Has copper melted? I don't know. There's that house that's still standing. I don't know whether some of them will be fine, I'm sure, and then others of them will probably also be demolishable based on the amount of damage they've sustained, but the house is still standing. I think it'd be time to build a batching plant in every neighborhood in Los Angeles, and a concrete batching plant. It's going to be, so much that happens. The roads are going to, in those neighborhoods, if the roads are still fine, they're going to take 10 years of heavy bulldozers, trucks, deliveries. That infrastructure of the roading itself is going to wear at an exponential rate because it's going to be exponentially used by heavier vehicles and more stuff like that. The amount of people trying to charge their batteries to cut with a saw or drill with a drill or whatever, because they're all electric, is going to go like this as well.
That's a good point.
There's going to be so many flow-on effect things that are going to be discovered. Not necessarily, we're just shooting the shit here and we're coming up with all sorts of things that are going to be
in a few minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So we're touching, the very top little surface of things that are obvious right now.
Yeah, in
the depths of it.
In Los Angeles, we have a lot of smart people here, and I'm hoping that innovation does come out of this. Mm-hmm. And people and designers do get together and put our heads together for solving these things, like all this energy that's going to require to power all these vehicles.
Yeah.
Where's that coming from?
Yeah.
It's like,
it's
so out your head.
Yeah. And then that's going with the fact that batteries, which we know are notoriously hard to recycle or break down again, solar panels, they're very hard to recycle. That's going with the premise that we can do that to them. So will electric powered vehicles prevail, or will hydrogen be the, beta VHS split, and will that prevail? And even if we say this to clients here, it's a really interesting thing. So when we get a client here, we say, so do you have 3-phase power at your home? And they'll go, no. We go, apply for it, apply for 3-phase power. And they're like, really? And we're like, yeah, apply for it because it means that you can charge things faster, like you've got more energy coming into your home. But each transformer that runs an area can only supply X amount of 3-phase power and X amount of single-phase power before it's overloaded and the infrastructure needs to be upgraded. So in the street, you might get 10 people with 3-phase and 50 with single-phase. And so when you look at things like that as well, that energy source that's got to come into the space and who gets what and how's it distributed, and So the infrastructure upgrade to Los Angeles, all these burned areas, is going to be absolutely fascinating to see as well. And as you say, the innovation is going to go ripe. It's a bit like, goodness, my daughter was saying to me the other day, she said, I really want a Rolls Royce when I get and have a car. I want a Rolls Royce. And I'm like, yeah, really? Show me the latest Rolls
That's
Royce.
quite the goal.
Yeah, exactly. She's 14 and she's like, I reckon it's just a kick-ass car. Like, and then I said, show me one. So she shows me one. And then I said, now search an old Rolls Royce. And so she does. And I said, do you know, that thing probably did like 6 or 8 miles to the gallon of fuel, where that new one would probably go for that same gallon of fuel, 30 miles, maybe, something like that. And I said, well, the engines were so inefficient, that fuel was being burnt at such a rate. And now we've got so much more efficient. She said, well, how did we do that? And I said, well, motor racing is just a key factor to that growth and understanding, because you've got to carry X amount of fuel to get around the track X amount of times. And you've got to do that using as much energy as you possibly can. And then you start looking at all the things that come from being innovated to be the fastest one around the track. That goes back into a car. She's like, right, okay, I'm hearing you, Dad. But that's what we should see as well. Yeah, we should see that change, which is pretty interesting.
We're going to need to keep construction going. And that's going to take power. I wonder if there's going to be like some emergency solar panel or solar farms that are going to pop up, like for emergency shelters after a hurricane. There's some of that stuff. I wonder if people will deploy solar farms or like some form of energy consumption out there. At least I think they should. So we're not just drawing it out of the grid,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and whether there's room for that, how that's going to work, I don't know. It's going to be.
Well, there's less traffic.
Yeah,
right now. So maybe they just use the streets.
Yeah,
and create close some streets and create some different traffic patterns during construction.
So in New Zealand, something
more efficient.
You quite often see is this kind of thing that you're just saying. They often wrap building sites with plastic wrap, basically, but they build a big scaffold structure and then wrap the whole building site so that you can, A, not put toxins all over your neighborhood, B, contain it so that you can work in any weather. I don't know what the cost or B, the environmental impact of whatever's gone on there that has to come off and get used or thrown away, whatever happens. Anyway, they like shrink wrap the site, and you start thinking like that and you go, well, what would happen if, you basically had a gantry that was the size of your block that was put up and the whole top of it was solar panels, and you worked underneath that so that you're working out of the sun as well as powering whatever's required, in an area
protecting from rain at the same time.
Yeah, protecting from all sorts of. There's going to be. It's so fascinating. I think.
Can you make that? Can we make that?
Let's make one of them.
I love that.
I think that there's so many things like this that are going to innovate out of the space that, whilst it's a hideous catastrophe of people's homes and their livelihoods, and, whether they're insured or not insured, all those things. It's also one of the most fascinating times that will create the most incredible case studies of how you deal with this in the future, wherever it happens. And Australia is the other big burn spot, like LA, like we have big wildfires here as well. So we're like leading in wildfire technology down under as well, and firefighting and stuff like that. And generally, we're very cross-pollinated with what's happened in the US. So it's kind of on the one side of, design thinking and those parts, it's kind of super exciting. And on the other side of it, it's only because there's been such a catastrophe that we get to really hone our skills and think in this manner. It's
12,000 homes were lost. If that this natural disaster happens again, I'd like to see that number get reduced to 1,000, because we're building responsibly and using a lot of this new technology and ideas to protect our homes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm excited to maintain the conversation and be a part of it as it goes along as well. I've got a lot of listeners in the US, and I've got a lot of friends who are in the architectural world in the US, and it's kind of, for me, I haven't had to live through the horror of it. How can I be part of a solution to it is my thinking. And then how does that solution benefit what we do in Australia as well? How does that make a difference? Right down to, our landscaping, fire tolerant landscaping and things like that. And just all those pieces that come into the design conversation. So when we look at the whole situation, I go, oh, wow, that's terrible. And then on the other side of it, I've got this excitement for what it requires to make it better in the future. And yeah, being in some way a part of that, like being a voice for it or whatever it is, an advocate for better design. Hey, tell me about some of your projects that you currently got and share some. I know you've got your Airbnb out in Joshua Tree. Are you just about to start construction?
We're about to start construction. I actually just signed the construction agreement for it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a kind of wellness design Airbnb. It's like built for like going out to the desert and doing yoga at. Right. So like being in the desert heat, doing yoga, taking a dip in the pool, and then coming back kind of like mentally refreshed.
Yeah.
Like we're trying to use calm materials and just share it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, yep, absolutely. We're on YouTube as well, so I'd love you to do that. That would be great. So everybody is listening. You can come and see this on YouTube. Wow, Corey, it's looking amazing. You can come and jump on their YouTube channel. It's Talk Design on YouTube and have a look at what Corey's sharing. The picture is one of a pool area that is integrated up to a house. But tell me about, you explain what we can see in the picture and then the philosophies behind it, please.
Yeah. So, I mean, the desert is, the idea is like doing yoga in nature.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of contextual kind of challenges with the site. Like the desert can get really windy and gusty. So we've actually created this colonnade where we have a exterior porch with columns every 4 feet on center that create a kind of wind protected area where we've got a heated concrete slab where also like it gets really cold during the winters in the desert, right? So with this wind protected and heated slab, you're able to actually do yoga in the winter if you want outdoors with nature and a lot of the like desert museum trees that we're going to be putting in. Yeah, we worked with Craft Landscape, a local landscape architect, and we've gone all out where we're going to be putting a nice landscape all over, also provide shade for the desert.
Yeah.
So I'll show a little bit about.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It does, like landscaping, whilst you've got your natural landscape that's outside of it, and then you're enhancing it and bringing it in around the space and enhancing it when doing that creates that connection between the indoors and the outdoors. We often say, well, how do we bring some of those trees indoors, and there's like that Japanese courtyard kind of idea where you put a tree inside every house because it's a touch point of being able to put your hands on something that's actually nature, true nature. It's not a simulation of it.
A lot of those Japanese houses are in urban environments where you do have that nature, but you step out the front door and you're like in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
So like being in your home and seeing that little internal courtyard is just a bit of fresh air and allows you warm in your home.
So I think that, it does. It calms the sympathetic nervous system. It brings joy. It emotionally supports along the biophilic design, kind of angles of that. It does a lot for people, for the human, in the environment. This is looking great. It's looking really cool.
Thanks, Ben. Another thing, like it is kind of a fire zone. Not kind of. It is as well. So instead of using conventional framing, we're using heavy timber, and heavy timber is a lot less combustible. It still will burn over time, but like you can get a 2-hour rating out of some of these larger lodge poles that are holding up the roof. the roof here.
Yeah, okay. So that's an interesting thing as well. So then take this back to the LA piece. When you are using timber, if you're using timber, is what is its combustion rate, and probably what heat does it develop as well. We have a timber here in Australia called ironbark, and you can wreck an axe trying to chop it up, kind of thing. You can blunt a saw blade chopping it up with a chainsaw, those kinds of things. But man, it burns with a heat, and it burns long and slow, But getting it going, if you've only got ironbark, yeah, you're pretty lucky to be able to light it.
It reminds me of like ipe wood, the Brazilian hardwood. It's just a dense wood that you drill through it. Like you can only drill through it like 3 times before you got to replace your drill bit.
Yeah,
because it's dense.
Yeah, the same. It's not as dense as ipe, but yeah, it's the same kind of thing. But that's what you're talking about here as well, is using these super dense woods to increase that burn time. And ideally, something would have gone through that landscape pretty quickly. Only we're talking with the architects, the landscape architects. Sorry, what was their name?
Craft Landscape.
Craft Landscape. So with
they're
them,
in East LA.
Okay, they designed this to be fireproof as well.
The planting and everything.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
fire tolerant. Yeah,
it is desert planting, so it is drought tolerant landscape, which is a lot better in fires. Yeah, it's not fireproof, right? And the more you water it, like the more fireproof it gets.
Right.
If you don't water it and it starts to die, like then it starts to become a problem. But yeah, I mean it's kind of tricky. Like the best fireproofing you can do with landscaping is just to maintain it and pick up all the dead leaves, and create what's called defensible space around your home.
Yeah. So in this picture that you've got here, we've got the colonnade. Is that a gabion basket wall?
It is, yeah. So there's lots of local rocks and Joshua tree that you can just gather, throw in a truck, and like bring to the site. And excuse me, it should be a quick and efficient way to use natural materials to build these retaining walls.
Yeah, awesome. Really, really cool.
I'm gonna get all my friends to come out there and help throw rocks in these bins.
Yeah, great idea. Great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody's got a touchstone then of the place, which is really cool. Really, really.
Yeah,
cool.
If you want to come out, you can sign one.
Yeah, okay. I'll be in LA sometime this year, so definitely come out. That'd be really fun. Come out there and hang out and go out to the desert, and then as I say, throw some rocks in the bags, and something magical about being in construction or on construction sites that I really love. So with this is your Airbnb project. What other kind of projects are you working on at the moment? You've got some commercial office stuff.
Yeah.
Is that a response to COVID and people not going back to workspace, or, what is that? Like one of the things I've seen is, there's this thing where the workspace has to be elevated enough that people want to come out and not just work from home or work remotely. They want to be back in with other people, and they want to be in an environment that's healthy, one that feeds them emotionally as well as nurtures their health, and they're at work, and they get community from it as well. So tell me about what you're doing there.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to promote healthy living and using design to do that. So like just like this Airbnb, we want to promote like spaces for yoga and meditation, like in the office space. So I like to tell people like we build healthy homes and healthy office space. And because there is a cross pollination, a lot of people spend most of their time in their office. I mean, it's kind of like split halfway between the house and the office, right?
Yeah.
So why can't?
Oh, if you're in LA, you spend it in the car.
In LA, you spend it in the car. Absolutely.
It's probably a 3-way split.
Yeah. Sadly, hopefully our public transit is going to keep improving, and we can change that dialogue, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but that's even more reason why you need a space to stretch and do yoga at your office, because you've been sitting in the car for an hour and a half, and you're all locked up.
Kind of lack of motion.
Yeah, and also like mentally, on the road, there's people cutting you off. It's kind of an aggressive atmosphere that you get to the office and you're kind of frazzled a little bit. At least I am.
Yeah.
That designing a meditation space or using calm materials to calm your nerves, that can help you focus and do a better job at work. So that's kind of like what we're trying to push in the office space, in the office realm.
Yep.
And
got some pictures of that.
There's a shot here.
Yeah.
This is a rendering, but we're actually like 80% done with construction on this. And we've gutted a 2-story, 40,000 square foot building completely. And we're building, there used to be one tenant on the top floor, 20,000 square foot, and one tenant on the bottom, 20,000 square feet.
Wow.
But these offices were too large and they were sitting on the market for like 2 years and not being able to be leased out. So my client, Hillco Development out of Long Beach, bought the whole building, gutted it, and decided to build between 1,200 square feet and 10,000 square foot smaller offices. Wow. So it's downsizing these larger offices to half or even a quarter of the size, which is more of the trend these days, and using some additional space to provide amenities for yoga and meditation to create a healthy office. And I think the interesting part about these spaces are we've condoized it so they're for sale and not for lease.
Wow.
So local businesses can come in and buy a space and gain equity with the building in this kind of wellness designed office and not just pay rent and where the owners get rich. They are going to be the owners.
Yeah.
So
it's fantastic.
And it's currently being advertised in Orange County. It's right next to John Wayne Airport.
Oh, yeah.
And it's called the Orwell.
The Orwell?
The Orwell. Yeah.
Where did that name come from?
I'm not quite sure.
I wonder if it was something original in the building or.
Yeah, we just kind of stuck with it. I'm not sure I questioned that too much. I'll have to get that story.
It's interesting to find out where the name came from and, whether there's, often, developers will, use a name that has a legacy portion to themselves or a story to themselves. It's like a family kind of little touchstone that runs and it has some sort of hidden meaning or something. Yeah. Rather than just, the Portofino or the whatever, like it's something. Yeah.
I think it had to do with the date at which the original building was built, which I think was 1970, early 1970s, had a correlation with something that came out from Orwell, the writer.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure the whole narrative there, but there's some correlation on that, the dates.
Yeah. It's kind of fun to know those things. This is a very looking, I'd say almost sort of like it's got those elements of that desert landscape in it as well, with the calmness of the materiality that you've got in the space and the form, like I can imagine that it would be quite beautiful to operate from. And when you create a space like this, you probably attract a lot of like-minded people to it.
Yeah, I hope a lot of plant lovers get in there and just bring all their plants like shown in these renderings, hanging and all over the place. I just hope they populate this building with plants. We're going to be installing some plants, but I hope it just keeps going.
Yeah.
Because seeing nature in the office place is calming and everyone's going to be in a mood where, it feels like outdoors inside. And maybe they exercise more. Maybe there's a biking club.
Yeah.
That they all.
I know it also it also upscales cognitive response. So being around nature and having nature, if you look up you already know this, but the biophilic design and what that does, it enhances cognitive response. And in doing that, you actually get better productivity, better mind thinking, better design thinking, whatever it is, from the people that are in that space.
And more oxygen.
Yeah, more oxygen.
Literally more oxygen.
Yeah, which is good. It's really good.
And we put a bunch of new skylights in the second floor roof. So the second floor is just flooded with natural daylight.
Love it.
And there's steel trusses on the ceiling.
Can see that.
So it's easy to hang a plant from the ceiling, like under a skylight
Uh-huh.
in these spaces. So we're almost at the point where we're going to be adding furniture and planting to it.
Yeah,
So
wow.
I can't wait.
Oh, I can't wait to share. Yeah, well, to be able to share some pictures of it when it's finished as well. That'd be really, really cool. Really cool.
Yeah. We actually got more work recently. The realtors have been touring potential buyers for these spaces, and we got another project about 3 months ago, which we're about ready to start construction on. We're doing a standalone office with all these principles that we talked about just down the street. So it's catching on with that. And we have a huge 1,000 square foot gym that we've added into the office space with 2 showers as well. So
yeah, I love that.
Trying to integrate like full yoga classes inside a 10,000 square foot office.
Yeah, that's so cool.
I don't have the image, but I can show you after if you're interested.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I had the pleasure of designing an office only for maximum 24 people a couple of years ago for a tech company. And the brief was world class. It's got to be better than any of their homes, the people who come and work there. This has got to be that level of office space. And they're a tech company that creates software. And with it, they kind of operate 24/7. And I say they operate 24/7. The office is always open and available to any of the employees. They don't always have to all be there at the same time.
So home.
Yeah, it gives them flexibility if they want to work later or if they want to be, whatever. And I can't remember what the bill was, what we spent on planting, but it was massive. Every opportunity there's a plant that we can put in there. Some really beautiful organic shaped pots and stuff. But the things that we really played with is that we had to retrofit this into the building. We created showers and the space where people could go out, be bike riding, go, the beach is a short walk, go to the beach, come back, jump in the water. Jump in the water at the beach, maybe do some body surf. Yeah, and then come back to work because it is a surf beach. Come back to work and then have a shower there and get back into what they're doing. But we also created a dedicated meditation room. And so it's in the center of the building. And with that, we took the roof and because of the way the building structure was already, there were certain poles and support elements that we had to maintain. And so we took the internal roof of it and made it come up and curve kind of in this really soft curve. So the walls and the ceiling are integrated. So it became a bit more womb-like, it was a bit more like that. And then it's got these sofas around, or it's a single sofa that wraps around all the walls. And then we've got like this cognitive light artwork that's in there as well that shifts through mood lighting. And then it's got some aromatherapy that happens in the space as well. And the music obviously as well for the space that you can just dial it up. And it's got a glass door that looks into the office spaces, into the actual office space. And
Trusted.
yeah, well, it's interesting because it's dark inside the room, other than the light that is emulated from this artwork. It means that people can sit, the sofas are made, and they're like bench sofas. They're made big enough so you can sit just upright. You could lie down. You could sit cross-legged on them. They're made big enough to be able to accommodate you that way, and that 3 or 4 people could be in that space at once, doing a meditation, those things. And we also put in a hyperbaric chamber as well into the office, so that they.
For people who don't know what that is, can you explain what that is?
Sure, it's an oxygen chamber, so you can go in there and you breathe like close to pure oxygen whilst you're in there, which actually revitalizes your body and recharges your body really, really quickly. And this one's a sit-up one. And so sometimes you'll see them going in there with a laptop, and they can put the laptop in there and just work for 20 minutes while they're breathing oxygen, as opposed to breathing, the H2O that we all breathe here. So these things that we put in there, and that's almost like in a forest in the office to get to the hyperbaric chamber. You've kind of got to go, there's a lot of planting around it. So you really shift your state. And then a lot of the other thing that I think is a massive pollutant is noise. And so in this office, we wanted large levels of privacy. So we have, you can't see into anybody else's office physically at the level that you might sit or walk at. And those walls that are there, high sound densification, so they absorb sound. And then there's windows at the bottom and big windows at the top and lots of incoming light. So if you're in any part of the office, you can just about always see completely to the other side of the office, but maybe at the level of feet, or maybe you don't see over the top. You can't see over the top, but you can see the light coming from each different space. So there's a real sense of connectiveness in the space that is actually really built to be private. And so things like that, I love I take what you were saying with those office spaces, and it's exactly what we were working to do. And then materiality wise, we used, really beautiful natural timbers, and we used clay-based renders on some walls and stuff like that help with sound density as well. So it's fun to do that, eh? Yeah, well.
Sounds a lot like...
Yeah.
I had a chance to get the image up for that other office that we're doing.
Yeah, that's cool.
It sounds like you described what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Where this is an open office, but like we have used a timber or wood screen to kind of diffuse the sound like throughout the space.
Love it.
So it will kind of diminish that echo sound like in this space.
100%.
And we hopefully are going to start construction on this in 3 weeks.
Oh, fabulous. That's so cool.
Yeah.
We'll be able to share some pictures as we go on that as well. That looks awesome.
Here's the kitchen area.
Yeah.
It kind of has all that like desert modern vibe with the natural woods and stuff. That's kind of all the work that we do. Kind of blends that together.
To the natural landscape of LA and the desert vibe.
Yeah. Subtle curves as well.
Yeah.
We call this area the cube.
In that office that we did, one of the things that we were so focused on was because everybody in there is a mathematician, pretty much. The owner of the business, I did his home, and one of the early things I worked out in doing his home is he really responds well to asymmetrics, and he likes things that are asymmetrical. So we don't have a room in that entire office that isn't asymmetrical. And we have all kinds of, things leading to sometimes sharp points, sometimes soft points in that space, because that keeps a lot of these mathematicians who are writing algorithms and doing that. The environment is stimulating their mind because it's never just plain. It's always something that forces the flow of it, the flow of the energy in there. Well, I shouldn't say forces, it creates a different flow of energy in there.
That's interesting. You don't find a lot of symmetry in nature. Like,
no.
Like you've heard of the golden section and like the rule of thirds. Like that is present all over nature.
Yeah.
So like, and that is asymmetrical. So I think you made a good choice there to bring in the qualities and algorithms of nature into this math center. That's poetic.
It is. And for the people who work in there, they love the space. They don't just enjoy the space and like coming to work there. They love being in there. They're in, it's quite amazing. And I was like, when we dedicated the space to a meditation room, and we've got a jungle gym, we've got some other things like that as well, cognitive response games, light games and stuff like that on some walls and things. But I was like, we're dedicating a reasonable chunk of this, not a reasonable chunk, we're dedicating a chunk of floor space to a meditation area. And for a business owner, getting utilization, you go, well, that's a big commitment. It is used just about every day. It's like the hyperbaric chamber. I know when we planned it in, and the business owner said, okay, we've got a goal And if we achieve this goal, I'll buy the chamber because it's $70,000. But if we achieve the goal, we get this. And they achieved the goal and they got it. Yeah, that's how it came about. He's like, awesome. Otherwise I'll just have one at home, because he does. But I'll have one here as well.
So you can share it with the whole office, and they can all be awesome.
Yeah, and it has a booking system for it, and you've never got more than 24 people in the office, and it's got a booking system.
It's a high-tech office.
Yeah.
Very
Isn't
forward.
that cool? Yeah, really fun. So
I love that he has one for his home, because you spend half the time, or a third in LA, like you said, at home, and he's living healthy at home. I mean, we could take notes from that. A lot of us. Yeah,
exactly. And for his family, his wife and his kids as well, bring them up in the best possible environment. And, I mean, for a lot of people, it's a question of cost, but for him, it's a question of better life and better health and longer health span in life, and bring his kids up to be conscious of that as well as everything else. So it's always nice to work for people who will let you into that journey and let you work with them on that journey for them. I always think that it's like what you're doing. The work that you're doing has got this meaning because there's a philosophy behind it that will only enhance human life, whether it be in the office or whether it be like the Airbnb and the other projects you do. It's about enhancing life. Yeah, I applaud you. It's great.
Thank you. Well, you too, my man.
Oh, it's good fun to design. I mean, it challenges the thinking, the design thinking, and the psychological layering and everything else that you can do with a space and create with a space. Because we're going to put humans in, we've got to look after them. They're precious. Yeah. And the better the human is, the better the environment that they create around them, and the more harmony and
community.
Community. Yeah. And so the ripple effect of that is just huge. It ripples to every area.
Yeah, and happiness. And they're going to be together more, hopefully.
Yeah.
Off their phones.
Yeah.
Detox from the phones, hopefully.
Detox.
Anything to get people off their phones and into yoga and talking about that and being part of community is what I want to see.
Yeah, that's me as well. Like the more of that we can do, the better all our world becomes. Corey, I'm looking forward to our next chat, man. I've got one last question for you, which is going to be in your own home. So the house, the place you live in now, where's your favorite space?
The kitchen.
Okay. If you had to use one emotional word to sum up the kitchen for you, what would it be?
I mean, that's our one word: community.
Community.
That's where everyone gathers, and that's where I love to cook. I love to cook healthy. I love to share that with family and friends. I think that's where the magic happens, not other places.
Right. And because you love to cook healthy, tell me more about, and that sharing of it, tell me more about what that does for you personally. How does it make you feel?
Cooking healthy?
Cooking healthy, but also being able to share food with people, being able to share conversation.
Yeah. Well, for one, I'm a huge fan of meal prepping, and I like to bring meals, so I'm eating healthy on the go. But like having people come and into your space and giving them a jalapeno chicken burger, that's kind of my thing. No one thinks to like kind of put jalapeno chicken and cinnamon together, and I do that with a little bit of curry. And we do burger night, but it's like this atypical burger. I like sharing that. It's different, and it is kind of like another way to share some creative energy with my friends without talking, just by sharing.
Absolutely, and it gives you a chance to express yourself, I gather. When you get to do all that, what kind of human does it allow you to be?
Just relaxed and just a human, just a normal human being who with love, I mean, that's as simple as it gets, in my opinion.
Oh man, totally. Yeah. I look at these things and I go, you could choose any space in the house, but that's one of the ones that allows you to be, from what you've just told me, creative, and then gather people around and give to them, be able to give and give to them, knowing that what you're giving is bringing them wellness, and it kind of ties back to your person, like it's a linear line of who you are, being able to give and then also being able to create more community around you that appreciates and comes on the creative journey with you.
Like also that's our space with like the most amount of plants.
Right. Yeah.
So
okay.
I love plants. I've got some behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like being in my plants and sharing that. So
it's so cool.
For anyone listening, put another plant in your kitchen. You won't regret it.
Yeah. 100%. That's a great idea. A really, really good idea. Corey, thank you so much for all your time, man. Really appreciate it. I really appreciate all the giving you've done. And it was fun to go through the complexities of what LA will face, and knowing that, you're going to be a part of that design journey for people in LA. They're in good hands.
Thanks, man. And I just want to encourage everyone to keep the dialogue going so that we can innovate during this tough time. It's an opportunity to innovate and just make things better.
Yeah. And come together. Yeah. Make community out of it. 100%.
Exactly. Adrian, you're the man.
Cheers, buddy. I'm looking forward to hanging out in LA with you. Thank you for tuning into our conversation. I hope it left you both informed and inspired. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen. And please don't hesitate to share your design thoughts with me. It's always a joy to hear from you. If you're like me and crave a deeper dive into design thinking, coupled with a love for travel and adventure, consider one of my architectural adventures. Join me and some of my wonderful design friends and embark on a journey of a lifetime. Apply for an unforgettable design experience at adrianramsey.com. With our clients spanning the globe, I firmly believe behind every great project are great people. If you're a great person and seeking to turn your dream into a reality, I'd be honored to design your home with you. Why not join the ranks of our exceptional clients and let's make your heart sing? Reach out to me at studio@ardesignhouse.com. That's studio@ardesignhouse.com, and let's get a conversation going and make your heart sing.